Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. So we are starting with a very new subject, that is museum and museology. This is a skill enhancement course that is offered by Delhi University. So we are starting with this course. We will cover the whole syllabus of this course. So let's see the syllabus of this course. So firstly it is given unit 1. So unit 1 में basically हमें जानने को मिलेगा about the concept of museum and museology, and with the help of International Council of Museum, that is ICOM definition. This is because many organizations across the world define museum time to time, like the American Association of Museum, Museum Association in Great Britain, etc. But the final and the latest definition of museum that was accepted in all the countries was of ICOM. It went through various amendments, and many definitions got amended and updated and modified, and the final definition and the latest definition that is accepted all around the countries was of the ICOM. So that's why we are taking help to understand the concept of museum and museology through the International Council of Museum. So we need to understand the meaning, purpose, changing role of museums. Also, we need to understand the history of the colonial museums and their transformation into national museums in the post independence era. So basically हमें म्यूजियम का evolution देखना है from the colonial period to the post independence era, कैसे उसका transformation हुआ. ऑल्सो हमें केस स्टडी देखना है ऑफ द वेरियस नेशनल म्यूजियम्स एंड उसका मेकिंग कैसे हुआ, उसका हिस्टोरिकल ट्रेजेडी क्या था और उसका इवोल्यूशन कैसे हुआ. एंड वी ऑल्सो नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड द बैकग्राउंड ऑफ द म्यूजियम मूवमेंट इन इंडिया. And last, we need to know the concept of new museology and how new museology is impacting museums. We need to take example of the museum that is following the methodology of the new museology, and how new museums have become an agent of change in the museum world. So let's start this video. अगर वीडियो आपको पसंद आती है तो लाइक शेयर सब्सक्राइब ज़रूर करना. So we will first see the definition of the museum. Many organizations across the world define museum time to time, like by the American Association of Museum, Museum Association in Great Britain, etc. So बहुत सारे organizations थे, they try to define museum across the world from time to time. For example, American Association of Museum, Museum Association in Great Britain, etc. But after the formation of ICOM, that stands for the International Council of Museums, in 1946. This is important. When the formation of the International Council of Museum take place, so it is 1946. So after the formation of this organization of the museum professionals across the world, they try to define museum. So they define museum in its statutes mentioned in Article 3 Section 1, so which is now acceptable. So their definition is now acceptable in all the countries. So ICOM went through few amendments because they studied the previous definitions and they tried to amend these definitions and try to modify and update the definition of the museum in accordance with the changing demands of the professionals of the ICOM, the organization of the museum professionals. So according to their demand, they tried to amend the definition, they tried to modify and update it according to their changing demand. So the latest definition of the museum by ICOM, which is adopted in the Second General Assembly in Vienna, Australia, held on August 24, 2007, amended on the last definition which was amended in 2001. So basically जो last definition था that got amended in 2001. So वो जो 2001 में जो definition दिया गया था उसको अपडेट किया गया इन द सेकेंड जनरल असेंबली दैट हेल्ड इन वियना, ऑस्ट्रेलिया. और उसी वियना, ऑस्ट्रेलिया में जो कि जनरल असेंबली हुआ, इसमें जो अमेंडमेंट टेक प्लेस किया वो एक्सेप्ट किया गया एज द लेटेस्ट डेफिनेशन ऑफ द म्यूजियम. और द लेटेस्ट डेफिनेशन ऑफ द म्यूजियम वाज गिवन बाय आईकॉम, जिसको कि अडॉप्ट किया गया सेकेंड जनरल असेंबली में दैट हेल्ड इन वियना, ऑस्ट्रेलिया. एंड दैट जनरल असेंबली हेल्ड ऑन अगस्त 24, 2007. और यही जो है हमारा वो लेटेस्ट डेफिनेशन है. सो अकॉर्डिंग टू दिस, म्यूजियम इज डिफाइंड एज, सो बेसिकली दिस डेफिनेशन शोज द मल्टीफेसेट functions of the museum. So it defines museum that museum is a non-profit permanent institution in the service of a society and its development. So basically museum एक non-profit permanent institution है that provides service to the society and works for its development, that is open to the public, and the main function is to acquire, conserve, researches, communicates and exhibits the tangible. Tangible का मतलब होता है physical object या structure that have historical, cultural, artistic or scientific value. Like example, artwork, artifacts, monuments, buildings, landscapes and archaeological sites. सो ये सारे जो होते हैं ये टैंजिबल के अंदर आते हैं। और इनटैंजिबल हेरिटेज बोले तो प्रैक्टिसेस, रिप्रेजेंटेशन, एक्सप्रेशंस, नॉलेज, स्किल्स, कल्चरल हेरिटेज ले लो, या फिर आप ओरल ट्रेडिशन, रिचुअल्स, क्राफ्टमैनशिप, लैंग्वेज। सो दीज ऑल comes under the intangible heritage of humanity and its environment. So basically it exhibits the tangible and intangible heritage of humanity and its environment for the purpose of it works on intangible and intangible heritage of humanity and its environment for the purpose. The main purpose is to provide the education, study and enjoyment to the public. The museums are vital for the preservation of cultural and natural resources. Museums play a vital role in the preservation of cultural and natural heritage, and also it plays a very important role in education and community engagement, because it provides education and helps in the community engagement. It also encourages the enjoyment among the individuals. Then we need to understand the concept of museology. So basically museology is the study of museum. Museums came into existence before museology, and the evolution and the development of museums led to museology, because people got and the organizations got engaged in studying the museums. The emergence of museology was accomplished with the actions related to museum. So the actions related to museum were indirectly the cause for the emergence of the museology. The development of museums paved the way for museology. So before 1870, museums were very simple. Amateurs basically they used to collect and put their stuffs behind the glass. It was not basically for earning money, or so it used to be very simple in the colonial times. Subsequently, in 20th century, museology was found. But after the transformation, after the development in 20th century museology, this term was found, which is basically the study of the museums. What is museology? So museology is the study of museums. Museology is the theoretical study of museum practices. It encompasses the history and development of museums, that how the background, the development of museums take place, the organization and museum management. It also explains us about the organization and the museum management. Museology focuses on the preserving, displaying and accessing objects. The science or practice of organizing, arranging and managing museums. All these terms referred to as museology. In 1972, ICOM, that is the International Council of Museum, it defined museology in a detailed manner. So museology is museum science. So how it defined? So the study of history and background of museum. Museum का जो study करते हैं उसके background, उसके history के बारे में, और उसका क्या role है society में, उसके specific systems, that how it researches the relationship with the physical environment and the classification of different kinds of museums, its roles, scope and its functions. So overall the study about the museum, it all comes under museology. So in brief, अगर आपको museology को define करना हो, so you can define that museology is the branch of knowledge and concerned with the study of the purposes and organizations of the museum. Aims and objectives of museology. So museology is the science of museum management. It basically deals with the museum management and its study. So museology by nature is both science and humanities. The main aim of museology is study cum training. So basically it focuses on the study and also on the training. It trains person to develop and maintain museums. The main purpose is to educate the visitors. Collection of specimens, art, archaeological objects, etc. It also practices the function of documentation, research, collection, storage and displaying. Conservation is the bedrock of museology. So basically, if it is asked what are the main functions or the main fundamental characteristics of museology, so you have to state these 8 functions, that is collection, maintenance of the building, documentation, display, presentation, research and publication, education, public relation and awareness, conservation and preservation. And also one important function is organizing the webinars, workshops. So we will discuss all these in detail in the unit 2. So it is given in the unit 2, where we will discuss about the functions of the museum and the various types of museums. What is the main role of museology? So there are various roles, that it provides various courses of study, training and research. It also provides academic guidance and leadership to the visitors. Publishing, to collect, preserve, interpret, display objects, artistic, cultural and scientific. Education of the public so that they can interact. They contextualize things, that what was the history of that artifact, this monument, and how you can relate it to the present time. entertaining and enlightening, preservation and safeguarding the previous objects, because there is two things in the museum. One, the storage, and the other is the displaying area. So storage is the main component of the museum, because only one third of the object is displayed and the two third is kept for the storage purpose. So basically the important function of museology is to the preservation and safeguarding the precious objects.
Baby, I was born.